Moving into a new house should be a time of excitement and fresh beginnings, but sometimes, those walls hold more than just memories, they hold secrets, shadows, and sinister forces waiting to reveal themselves. Tonight, we bring you 3 unsettling true new house scary horror stories, real accounts that will leave you questioning every creak in the floor and every shadow in the corner. If you love chilling tales, terrifyingly true events, and haunted stories that send shivers down your spine, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more creepy stories and terrifying encounters. Now, let's unlock these haunted doors, if you dare. This story is about the Whispering Walls. Sarah and her husband, Mark, thought they had found their dream home, a quaint, 2-story Victorian house on the edge of a quiet town. It had everything they wanted: charm, character, and a backyard perfect for their 2 kids. But from the moment they moved in, something felt off. The house exuded an eerie stillness, as though unseen eyes were watching their every move. They brushed it off as nerves from the excitement of a new home, but deep down, Sarah felt the weight of something unspoken, something sinister. The first night, Sarah awoke to faint whispering. She assumed it was the wind carrying voices from outside. But as she lay in bed, straining to listen, the whispers grew clearer, closer. They weren't coming from outside but from within the walls. Mark dismissed it as old pipes or drafts, but the whispers persisted, haunting her through the days and growing louder when she was alone. At first, she couldn't make out the words, but one night, while doing dishes, the message became unmistakable: "Get out." The chilling scare of that moment left her paralyzed. She clutched the counter, her hands trembling, as the haunting whispers seemed to mock her fear. Their dog, Max, refused to go near certain corners of the house, growling low and pacing nervously. Cold spots appeared randomly, icy patches that made Sarah's skin prickle. Then, their youngest daughter, Lily, began talking to someone who wasn't there. "Her name is Miss Abigail," Lily said one night at dinner, her voice eerily calm. "She used to live here, but she's sad now." When pressed about how she knew this, Lily simply shrugged and smiled. "She told me." The ghostly horrors of the house were beginning to unravel, and the family was trapped in its suffocating grip. Mark tried to stay rational, but even he couldn't explain the disembodied laughter they sometimes heard late at night or the way the lights flickered despite the electrician's assurances that everything was fine. Desperate for answers, Sarah began investigating the house's history. Her research led to a chilling account that sent shivers down her spine. Decades ago, a reclusive spinster named Abigail had lived there. Neighbors remembered her as odd but harmless, until the night she vanished without a trace. There were reports of screams and violent banging heard the evening she disappeared, but when the police arrived, they found no sign of her. The case remained unsolved, her fate a mystery. As Sarah pieced together the story, the whispers in the house grew angrier, as though the ghostly spirit resented her intrusion. The unseen eyes that seemed to watch her every move became unbearable. The final straw came one night when Mark was working late. Sarah was home alone with the kids when she heard heavy, deliberate footsteps upstairs. Grabbing a kitchen knife, she crept up the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. Each step she took was met with silence until she reached the top. There, the air was icy, suffused with a suffocating tension. Suddenly, the whispers erupted around her, a cacophony of terrifyingly true encounters. "Get out, get out, get out." It wasn't just whispers anymore, it was mocking laughter, ghostly shadows flickering in the dim light, and the oppressive sense of a presence closing in. Sarah fled down the stairs, grabbed her children, and didn't stop until she was outside, trembling in the safety of the night. The family moved out within a week, unable to endure the torment any longer. Years later, Sarah learned that the house had changed hands multiple times, each family reporting the same haunting whispers, ghost stories, and chilling tales. Some spoke of ghostly shadows flitting through the halls, others of cold spots that seemed to follow them, and all of them shared the same oppressive dread that drove them away. The house still stands, an enduring monument to ghostly horrors and haunted whispers, waiting for its next victims to stumble into its terrifying tale. If this terrifyingly true story left you feeling uneasy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more haunted tales, ghostly spirits, and chilling scares. And remember, some walls are better left silent. This story is about the haunted nursery. When Kelly and David bought their first home, they felt like their dreams were coming true. It was a charming, spacious old house with room to grow their family. Kelly, pregnant with their first child, was overjoyed to turn one of the bedrooms into a nursery. She painted the walls a cheerful soft yellow, carefully arranged toys and furniture, and even hung delicate curtains to let in the morning light. The room quickly became her favorite place in the house, but that happiness was short-lived. From the moment the nursery was finished, strange and unexplainable events began to unfold. It started small. Toys would move on their own, shifting positions as if an unseen presence was playing with them. The rocking chair by the window often swayed gently, even when the windows were shut and there was no breeze. At first, Kelly brushed it off, blaming the drafty nature of the old house. But then came the haunting whispers, barely audible, like a soft lullaby carried on the wind. Night after night, the unsettling melody grew clearer, filling the nursery and seeping into Kelly's dreams. David dismissed it as pregnancy-induced anxiety, but Kelly knew better. Something unseen and ghostly lingered in their home. One night, Kelly woke suddenly to the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. Her maternal instincts kicked in, and she rushed to the nursery, heart pounding. But when she flung open the door, the room was empty. The crib was untouched, the air was freezing, and the faint sound of the lullaby hung in the silence. As Kelly turned to leave, a chill ran down her spine. She glanced toward the window and froze in terror. A faint outline of a woman stood there, her head bowed, her face obscured by shadows. Kelly's scream pierced the night, waking David, who ran to her side. He arrived just in time to see the figure dissolve into ghostly shadows, leaving behind an icy stillness. Desperate for answers, the couple delved into the house's history. What they uncovered chilled them to the core. Decades ago, a woman named Margaret had lived there with her infant son. Tragedy struck when the baby died unexpectedly in the very nursery Kelly had lovingly prepared. Consumed by grief, Margaret had taken her own life in the room, leaving behind an unresolved sorrow that seemed to cling to the space. The haunting whispers and ghostly spirit were no longer just eerie disturbances, they were Margaret's lingering grief, etched into the house like a chilling account of her pain. As the haunting grew more intense, Kelly became increasingly distressed. Mocking laughter echoed through the halls at night, and ghostly horrors seemed to follow her every move. Toys would tumble off shelves, unseen eyes seemed to watch her in the nursery, and the lullaby played incessantly, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had occurred. The couple tried everything, prayers, blessings, even consulting a spiritual medium, but nothing could banish the ghostly presence. Finally, unable to endure the terrifyingly true encounters any longer, Kelly and David made the heartbreaking decision to sell the house. Before they left, Kelly placed a single yellow rose on the nursery windowsill, a gesture of compassion and peace for the grieving mother who had never left. The house stood silent as they drove away, but Kelly couldn't shake the feeling that the ghostly spirit of Margaret still watched over the room, bound by her sorrow. The new owners soon reported strange happenings of their own, adding their voices to the growing collection of haunted tales tied to the house. If this terrifyingly true story sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more creepy stories, haunted whispers, and chilling tales. And remember, sometimes, the past leaves a mark that even time can't erase. This story is about the locked room. Ethan couldn't believe his luck when he found a charming, affordable rental house in a quiet neighborhood. The landlord's one peculiar rule, to never open the door at the end of the upstairs hallway, seemed like a small price to pay for such a deal. "It's just storage," the landlord had said, his eyes avoiding Ethan's. At first, Ethan didn't think much of it. The house was old, filled with quirks like creaking floorboards and drafty windows, and he chalked up the landlord's warning to eccentricity. But as the days turned into weeks, strange occurrences began to unnerve him. Soft thuds echoed from behind the locked door late at night, followed by faint scratching, as though unseen eyes were watching him from within. Haunting whispers seemed to drift through the hallway, faint but persistent, their eerie tones impossible to ignore. Ethan tried to rationalize it. Old houses made noises, after all, but the sounds grew more distinct, more deliberate. The whispers often seemed to call his name, laced with mocking laughter that made his skin crawl. Curiosity gnawed at him, and he found himself staring at the locked door, wondering what secrets it concealed. One night, unable to resist the pull of the forbidden, Ethan grabbed his flashlight and approached the door. His hand trembled as he turned the key, feeling the air grow colder around him. When the door creaked open, the sight before him was both unsettling and surreal. The small room was empty, save for a single wooden chair in the center. The peeling wallpaper bore faint, crisscrossed scratch marks that hinted at something, or someone, desperately clawing to escape. As he stepped inside, the temperature plummeted, and the door slammed shut behind him. Ethan whirled around, yanking at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. A low, guttural growl rose from the shadows, and ghostly whispers filled the room, rising to a deafening crescendo. The mocking laughter returned, joined by ghostly shadows darting across the walls, their ghostly horrors closing in on him. Panic surged as Ethan banged on the door, shouting for help, but the air grew heavier, suffused with the weight of something unseen and malevolent. Just when he thought he couldn't bear it any longer, the door flew open, and he stumbled out, gasping for air. Ethan bolted from the house, leaving behind his belongings and his sanity. Days later, a neighbor approached him, their face pale as they recounted a chilling tale. The previous tenant, too, had defied the landlord's warning. She claimed to have seen a ghostly spirit, an apparition with hollow eyes and a mouth twisted in silent screams. She was never the same afterward, her once bright demeanor replaced by a haunted silence. Ethan never returned to the house. Rumors about its haunted past spread through the town, stories of haunting whispers and terrifyingly true encounters that sent chills down the spines of those who dared to listen. The house remained empty, its secrets locked away, waiting for the next unsuspecting tenant. To this day, Ethan warns anyone looking for a cheap rental to think twice if there are strange rules attached. If this terrifyingly true story gave you chilling scares, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more ghostly tales, haunted stories, and creepy accounts. And remember, some doors are locked for a reason. These chilling accounts remind us that a house isn't just bricks and mortar, it's a repository of memories, both joyful and tragic. From whispers in the walls to shadows that linger, these stories serve as a haunting reminder to trust your instincts when something feels off. If you enjoyed these 3 unsettling true new house scary horror stories, hit the like button, subscribe, and share for more terrifyingly true encounters and creepy tales. Stay safe out there, and remember, home isn't always where the heart is. Sometimes, it's where the haunt is.